Getting older.
Restomods, Pro Touring, Tributes, Replicas, Copies. Whatever. They used to be called hot rods. And it seems there's at least one shop in every county striving to pump modern ability under old sheet metal and sell the result as something new. Write a big enough check to companies like Detroit Speed, which is, for some reason, in North Carolina, and you'll get a '69 Camaro much faster than a new one. Sign up with Icon 4x4. And that Los Angeles company will create a hyper-detailed version of, well, almost anything you like. Then there's the subject here, climbing out of legacy classic trucks in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, a recreation of the beloved four-wheel drive NAPCO Chevrolet pickup produced in small numbers during the 1950s. That's NAPCO as in Northwestern Auto Parts Company, a Minneapolis firm established in 1918 and well known for supplying four-wheel drive components during World War II. With the war over, and at a time when most OEMs weren't yet building their own 4x4 pickups, the company put its expertise into building conversions. Most famously, NAPCO was selling kits that upgraded a Chevy or GMC half-ton truck to four-wheel drive. When GM introduced its own factory-built 4x4 pickups for 1960, NAPCO's conversion business dried up. Throw in a few rounds of corporate shenanigans, and eventually NAPCO was absorbed into the Dana Corporation and the brand died. I called it Dana about the brand, sighs legacy founder and owner Winslow Bent. No one there seemed to know. Such is the fate of all things to fade into obscurity. Well, not that obscure. There's a cult that has arisen around those NAPCO conversions. First because they're mechanically interesting and second because jacked up GM Advanced Design, 1947-1955, and Task Force, 1955-1960, trucks are spectacular looking pieces of mid-century industrial design. For Legacy's Bent, whose company made its truck bones reimagining and re-engineering early Dodge Power wagons, reviving the NAPCO legacy would be, from the Legacy point of view and legacy-wise, a good business for Legacy's expansion of its legacy. The interior is trimmed in elegant leather and stuffed full of everything the modern aftermarket can provide. That includes a Glide Industries bench seat, a Nardo wood steering wheel, and instrumentation from Classic Industries. The vintage air conditioning blows so cold it's practically disdainful. But the cockpit is also the Legacy NAPCO's Achilles instep. The major problem with the Legacy NAPCO isn't anything Legacy has done, but the limitations baked into the truck way back in the early 1950s when GM was designing it. Even compared to trucks built only a few years later, the cab is narrow and short. There's not a lot of leg or shoulder room, the atrocious aerodynamics lead to plenty of wind noise, and old hinge and latch designs mean the doors don't always like to close tight. My legs were practically cramping up against the pedals because they're too closely positioned for my 6'1" frame. Almost anything about an old vehicle can be improved upon with the application of cubic dollars. But almost anything isn't everything. And at some point the only way to get a better truck is to buy a newer one. Ultimately, the same things that make an old classic truck so ridiculously charming are what hold it back from ever being as comfortable and efficient as a new pickup. And that alone marginalizes the Legacy NAPCO as something of a plaything rather than an everyday driver. That's before considering cost. And with prices starting at $120,000, the Legacy NAPCO demands a lot of consideration. With the aftermarket now moving into areas it has never dared consider before: chassis, suspension, air conditioning, and whole new bodies. For instance, it's possible to indulge yourself if you have the wallet mighty enough to back up your whimsy. The Legacy NAPCO is a nice tribute to a bygone product, but it's not a necessary tribute. How much do you value paying tribute?